this is also one of our fabulous teachers from New York City. I'm so excited to turn things over to my dear friend, pal, and professional confidant, Laura Del Rosso.
Having Gina Costanza gas you up is like, great. Thanks, Boo. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so happy to have you all here to talk about building community in our modern band classrooms. I'm Laura Del Rosso. I use she, they pronouns. You can flip-flop between the two however you're feeling today. So to start us off, we're gonna do a little bit of fun karaoke. I know everyone is ready to sing karaoke. Would you like to come up and sing karaoke? You can do it together.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're suggesting a song that makes you feel happy, energized, safe, and or affirmed. What song do you want to do?
What's my age again? What's my age again?
Woo! Yeah. All right, that's enough of that. Okay.
Wow.
No, that was amazing. Incredible. Okay.
So bad.
Has anyone ever done karaoke with their students?
Yeah.
Do we do it at the end of the year as like a filler, or do we do it as a lesson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both. ¿Por qué no los dos? Yeah. Well, why would we do this with our kids as a means of building community and connecting with each other? Why would we do that?
They like low pressure.
Learn low pressure. Learn what kind of music they like. Yeah.
Lowers their effective filter.
Lowers their effective filter. Yes. Yes, incredible, yeah. So we can do karaoke with our kids as a way of building community because of all of those amazing reasons that you already knew. Oh yeah, look at you guys. Does anyone remember what middle school felt like? Was it, okay, this was also college for me though, but yeah, so.
Yeah.
So, middle school, so I teach middle school. I have for 6 years. That is my whole life is dealing with 12 and 13-year-olds who are sitting in the fire like that. But everything that we're going to talk about today can be applied for our elementary kiddos, just scaled down a little bit, and for our high schoolers who are also navigating a lot and really need to learn how to build community with each other. But a lot of the practices we're going to talk about today are coming out of my experience with middle schoolers, knowing that they are this all the time. It's hard building connections with each other when our hormones are going crazy and our bodies are weird. It's super hard. So that's just a little bit about where I'm coming from for today's session. So we're going to, I'm going to read it because it helps me. So we all know that social emotional connections are what make our music classrooms so special, right? But sometimes it's easy to get caught up in this like pressure of the school year, this push for concerts and repertoire and all these things. So we're going to talk about how we can work community building into just how we have our classroom space set up, how we interact with our students, how we manage our classroom, and then we're also going to have a couple of practical activities. So, setting the tone for community building in the classroom, I really think starts with how you present your actual rules for your physical space that have the QR code up here for you that you can scan. You're also gonna get this whole presentation and the link there will give you the Google Doc, and you can make a copy for yourself if you like it. But I only have 4 rules. Care for the space, care for each other, care for yourself, and have fun. Because we should be having fun when we're making music, right? Now, I know these seem really open-ended, and they might leave some room for like wiggle room and behaviors in the classroom. So what I do to talk about it with my kids, we're gonna move on from the QR code. Is that okay? Okay. So this is an actual slide that I use with my kids at the beginning of every year. We sit in a circle and we talk about what these 4 rules mean. So what does it mean to care for the space? And so this is what some of my 6th graders came up with this year. And they actually tell me, what does it mean to care for the space? Taking care of the instruments, right? Treating them with respect, being mindful of our space, not knocking into things. So I go through each of these rules, I guess, and they fill out almost like a class contract. And this really helps if we have a disagreement with kids or if something happens in the room that is unsafe. I'm able to pull this slide right back up for them and show them and say, hey, we talked about following the golden rule and treating each other with respect. I don't think that this person felt respected by you. Let's have a conversation about this. So this is how I set the tone for the year and how I frame classroom management. Again, you're gonna have this, so we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna read it all for you. Okay. Another really big part about setting the tone for the year is the physical space of your classroom, making sure that everybody feels safe and seen and welcomed. That's the foundation for community building, right? If I walk into a space and I see something that makes me feel unsafe, I'm not gonna feel like I'm part of that community. And so as teachers, having our rooms be a space where a kid from any background can come in and be like, yes, I belong here, is so important. And so thank you. And so I do this in a couple ways. Like with the decor, so I have a couple flags up in my room. I have the trans pride flag, I have Black Lives Matter flag, and I have a land acknowledgement for the Lenape people, which are indigenous to the New York area, specifically Manhattan. I'm gonna go over, I know some of you, and then also I have the Progress Pride flag hanging up in my room. That pride flag is like right when you walk in my space, you see it big and bold right in front of your face. And I also have a couple of those little other LGBTQ identity flags. You don't have to go this big and bold. You can just have a little baby pride flag on your desk, but it goes such a long way when you have a kid who is maybe still closeted or figuring themselves out and they walk into your space and they see a little pride flag, they know that you're a safe person automatically. And that sets the tone for creating our safe, brave community in our classrooms. Now, I am super aware that it might not be safe for all of you, because we're from all over the country, to have these types of flags in your classrooms. I totally get it. In the New York City Department of Education, we're protected under a clause in the Chancellor's regulations that is called respect for all. And so I can have these flags in my room. My principal cannot tell me to take them down. So I know that I have that protection. I understand that does not necessarily extend to everyone across the country. So I did just link in some resources here. So you can check that out if it's something that you've been wondering about, you've been wanting to put these things in your room, but you are not quite sure. There's some links up there for the ACLU. You can look into it and see your safety level. Please consider that first. And I also wanted to share a little bit more about the land acknowledgement. Again, we're creating a space for all students to feel safe and loved and accepted and know that everybody else in the world deserves to feel like that. And so I have my land acknowledgement in my classroom because a lot of my students come in not knowing that we are on the indigenous lands of the Lenape people, and just having this there and sharing it with them and talking about it lets them know that we care about the people that are in our classroom, and we also care about the people who are not. So I may not have any indigenous students in my room, but they know that we should be respecting all people in all settings. I have that QR code up there too. This goes to a Canva slide. Y'all can get free Canva accounts with your school emails. If you've not done that yet, you should do it. Canva is great. But this will let you go to an editable version. So you can actually edit this poster. It's a copy. You can make your own copy and you can make your own for your classroom if you'd like to. But you can find out a little bit more about land acknowledgements at the link that I put there as well. How are we feeling so far? Any questions? Yeah, we're okay? All right. Now we're going to go into an activity. So one of the ways that I like to explicitly build community, so we've done a lot of like implicit ways that I build community, right? So we're setting the tone for our space with the classroom rules and with the decor in the room. But to explicitly talk about community building, I like to use musical affirmations. Whether you use them or not, Creating phrases of positivity and encouragement with your students is a really awesome way to break down barriers right from the jump. In the same way that doing like a fun karaoke thing immediately broke down some of our barriers and made us get more comfortable with each other, speaking words of affirmations can also do that. So I'm gonna show you the slides that I actually use with my kids first, and then we are going to do the activity ourselves. So from the teaching side of it, I just go, what is an affirmation? And we brainstorm about it. And then I show them the answer. It's a positive phrase or statement that challenges a negative thought, inspires or motivates the speaker. You can use these with your kids. Why might we want to make affirmations for our music class? Think, pair, share. We don't have to do think, pair, share, but let's hear from you. Why would we want to make affirmations for our music class?
Kids need to be encouraged.
Because kids need to be encouraged. Yes?
Music is easy to feel self-conscious.
Yes.
Builds self-esteem.
Yes. It's so easy to feel self-conscious. That's why one of my rules is respect yourself. Be okay with making mistakes. Speak to yourself kindly. Yes.
Some students might feel awkward giving affirmations to others, and practicing that makes it easier to connect with your community members.
Absolutely, yeah. Wow, we should have been writing all of this down. Amazing. So we brainstorm just the way we just did here, and then I share an example of an affirmation. But for me, I talk about teaching. So it makes it more personal for me. So I'm sharing with them a personal affirmation for myself. So I just share this with them. We talk about it. And they're like, but you're already great. And I'm like, I know, I'm kidding. So then we move on to actually creating the affirmations after we've talked about it. So I give them, this is the slide that I show them. I just set the timer. We go, okay, let's think about it individually. Now let's actually we think about challenges. Sorry, I didn't even read the slide that I had. So we think about what we want to accomplish in music class throughout the year, and then we think about what we need to say to ourselves to overcome the challenges we might face for what we want to accomplish. I have them write down the affirmations, and then they share it with their elbow partner, and then we make a whole list of affirmations. We do a share out, and we make the whole list. And this, we don't need that. And so this is a real example of one of the days that I did this activity. These are the affirmations that they came up. Everyone in the band matters. When one of my little babies raised his hand and said, everyone in the band matters, I just about burst into tears. I was like, you're right, yes. So it's really cute. And then never back down, never give up. Did any of your kids obsessively yell this throughout the school year? Was it just my kids? I don't know why they were obsessed with this, but never back down, never give up was really big this year. Anyways, so then we do an affirmation/name game. So after we've created this list, we do an activity. I usually do, this is like an opening of the year type situation. So they may not know everybody's names yet in the class. So they have to find somebody across the circle that they may not know, and they have to toss the little tiny duck, which I brought with me today. This is not a raffle duck. This is my classroom duck, so you cannot have it. But so they toss the duck and they say their name and they say an affirmation to that person. So everybody in the band matters. I'd be, Steve, you matter to the band. And that's what they would say. So they go around the circle like that until everybody has given and received an affirmation. And of course at first, it's all they're a little funny about it. They're a little giggly. They're like, this is a little weird. And then by the end of it, they're so serious about it. And they're so intentional about speaking that affirmation to somebody else in the class. Whether they really mean it at the moment or not, those words stick with them throughout the year. And we revisit it throughout the year as well. So this is what I did with those affirmations. I printed them out and did a little like super bad laminating job and taped them to the door so that they're there all the time. The kids cannot be in my classroom without seeing these affirmations every single day, which I think is also really important that they're seeing this constantly. And so if a kid is like struggling one day and is just not having a great day and feels like they're not like learning their part the way they want to, all we have to do is guide them over to the door and say, look, your best right now is good enough. You still matter to this band, even if today's not your day. And that's just kind of how I use this physical space in the classroom. You had your hand up?
You never talk about sarcasm, because eighth grade
Who was I speaking to? I don't remember if it was somebody in this room where it was like giving the sarcasm right back is like.
It's a love language to them.
It is, sometimes it's a love language. But sarcasm, again, like when you start something like this, there might be moments of that where the kids are like, oh, this is just a sarcastic, funny activity, and they'll roll their eyes. But as 30 kids have done it, by the time every single person has done it, it's not weird anymore. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing today. Everybody is saying it. Yeah. So we are going to do this activity ourselves, but we are going to gear it towards something that is more personal to us. So because we're not students in a music classroom, we're teachers in a music classroom. And sometimes we need to give ourselves a little love and support and know that we are held in community with each other. So we are going to create our own teaching affirmations. So you all should have had an index card on your chair. And if you don't, you can put your hand up and I will make sure that you get one. If writing is not your thing, you can also think of it in your head. I don't store things well in my head, so that's why I have the index cards. So just for a few moments, we're gonna sit and you can brainstorm and jot down some teaching affirmations for yourself. And after that, we're gonna go through the same process that I go through with the kids, where we can do an elbow talk and then a share out, and we'll generate our own list of teaching affirmations. So we'll give it a few minutes for y'all to do that. And raise your hand again if you need an index card, so I'll come right over to you. Okay, we feeling okay? The next part is chatty. So turn to your friend. If you're not friends with the person next to you just yet, go ahead and introduce yourself to your elbow buddy on your right or your left, or you can do a little group of three. We're adults, we can do this. And share your affirmations with each other. We'll let that go for a few minutes. 2, we're turning our bodies back to the front, voices off. 1, 0. Amazing. Okay, wow, you quiet down way better than my kids. So we're gonna make our collaborative list now. If I could use my laptop with this screen. Whew. Mirroring the screen and doing all the things is hard, y'all. Okay, who feels comfortable sharing their teaching affirmation with us? Love you. We've heard a lot from you. Give me a second. Go ahead.
Probably my favorite one. I'm a real teacher who has a break for classroom teachers.
Hold on. Can you read that again, please?
I'm a real teacher, not a break for classroom teachers.
Felt that. Okay. Yes. If you want. Oh, I love that. Mistakes are opportunities to learn. Everybody needs a Gina Costanza. I hate typing in front of people, and like I constantly mess up in front of my kids, and then they'll tell me when I mess up, and I'm like, I know, thank you. It's okay to make mistakes. Go ahead. Oh. This might have just been for me, so I can get more teaching. Go ahead.
I am in competition with myself only.
Yeah. think that our kids are also on a lot of different levels with this type of thought as well, because some of them might be in really different places of like, well, I feel really comfortable with my skill level and I don't really want to have an affirmation about that, but maybe their affirmation is more about how they want to develop as a leader in the classroom or other skills that they want to develop. And I think that the same is true for us as adults. I think this is a really great example of how like our kids are all going to be at different spaces with this as well, and providing this space for all of those things to exist at the same time and for everyone to hear each other's place where they're at is also really powerful for building that community. So we're touching on a lot of different things here. Like these are all coming from a place of like our personal, where we're at, what we want to work on, what we want to grow through, or what we want to say to ourselves to just be like ready for our wild job that is teaching. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. So now we're actually gonna do the thing where we toss the tiny duck and we tell the affirmation to somebody else in the space. So this is why we're in a circle. So we're gonna do a really, really quick transition where all of my friends that are facing forward, if you could turn your chair so that you're actually facing the circle. And my friends who are in the back, if you can find a chair that's in the circle, you can join us. That would be awesome. We okay? We feel good we're in the circle? Amazing. Okay, so we may not know everybody in here. I mean, I sure know that I don't know everybody's names. So I think the best policy would be to just like point at the person you're intending to throw an object at, and they can say their name. So then you can then repeat their name and say one of the affirmations up here. Okay, so maybe we'll do an example. My friend who's saying Blink-182, what is your name?
I'm Laura.
You're also Laura. Incredible. This got super easy for me. Okay, so Laura, you're actually like really smart.
That's like the easy one.
Sorry, I took the, yeah.
You can do all things through music.
Joseph, your time is vital and important and not a source of guilt.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, look at that.
Great expectations can lead to great disappointment.
Let's go on. Ah, missed it. Thank you. Okay, well, give yourselves a round of applause. Now, do we think our students would also laugh during this activity?
Yeah. Sure.
Does laughter build community?
Yes.
Yes. Would they come up with their own that are personal to share with a friend? Yeah. Some of them will, yeah. Will they go off book and make up their own that are really heartfelt that didn't make it on the board? Totally, yeah. So again, like our students might be at all different places when they start an activity like this, and it might feel a little bit funny for a minute, but by the time they've heard 30 kids say somebody's name and tell them something positive about them, everyone is on board with being kind, speaking to each other with kindness, and speaking to themselves with kindness. And of course, this is something we have to reinforce throughout the entire school year. We have to constantly remind them, yes, it's okay to make mistakes. Yes, it's okay to just like go for something and not be perfect at it the first time. But having this foundation as I love doing this activity right at the beginning of the school year, having that be the foundation from which we build our musical skills is my favorite thing to do in the school year. Squeaked again. I hope that these conversations were really productive and you all added a bunch more things to your toolbox about community building in your classroom. I really hope that you had fun and felt affirmed and felt part of our teaching community in this space and have some ideas that you can take with you. We don't really have time for like a big share out and questions, but if you want to chat, just like hang around later. I'll stick around here for a little bit. And I'm gonna give it to Dina. Thank you so much, everyone.
Speaking of thank yous, let's give a big round of cheers